This evening, the verdict is in for the case of presidential term limits. Citizens protest parking meters for a fourth time. Mayor of Georgetown speaks out about recent protests. British High Commissioner discusses Guyana's oil future. In the region, in Trinidad and Tobago, with carnival season in full speed, Trinis consider the meaning of the yearly parade. And internationally, social commentator Milo Yiannopoulos speaks out about his recent resignation from conservative publication.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel, as well as our website, safetvguyana.com. Join us. On Wednesday, Guyana's Courts of Appeal ruled 2-1 that presidential term limits are unconstitutional. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams said the state will appeal the decision to the Caribbean Court of Justice within 30 days. Andrew Weeks reports.
It's a divided court. It wasn't unanimous, and I believe that we have good grounds to go to the CCJ to get them. It's important that these things are finally resolved. And I wasn't the Attorney General in the beginning. Mr. Nanala, as you heard the court said, didn't raise certain points when he's supposed to. But the decision would mean that anybody could come to court, you know, and it doesn't make there are really no checks or balances. So the CCJ needs to.
AG, are you at all worried that Judge B.S. Roy didn't make any submission but just plainly agreed with Hudson?
No comment.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams. Basil Williams and the Counsel for the Speaker of the National Assembly both stated that they will now move to the Caribbean Court of Justice to challenge the ruling of third term.
Well, the court has delivered its decision. It's a split decision between two judges against one. And we remain confident in the arguments we submitted, and we will most likely be filing an appeal to the CCJ.
How soon?
Within the time period permitted. 30 days.
The third term's appeal court case will go down in history of Guyana as a threat to the judiciary and the constitution of when it comes to some legal minds interpreting the law of the land. Acting Chancellor Justice Carl Singh and Justice B.S. Roy ruled in support of Justice Chang's ruling, and throughout the appeal, Justice B.S. Roy would only tell the court that he agreed with all that Justice Singh had to say. He offered no other statements. Carl Singh stated that the Parliament has no right to amend the Constitution on the third term of President. The people are entitled, in keeping with democratic principles, to freely elect their representatives, says Singh. He further reasoned that this qualification will further diminish the sovereign and democratic entitlement of the Guyanese people. He noted too that deeply entrenched in Article 1 and 9 of Guyana's Constitution could only be changed by referendum to achieve legal validity and efficacy. Acting Chief Justice Janet Cummins Edwards in her presentation was the only person who did not find favor with Justice Singh's ruling among the three appeal court justices. In her view, she stated that by the electorate choosing the members of the National Assembly via election, that they would have given that powers to the members to make amendments to the Constitution. Respondent for the appeal, Sean Alicock, made the following statements.
I might remind you guys that in the Esteparier case, the Esteparier election petition, similarly the democratic rights of the people to not be labored or belabored with a voter ID card in order to vote. And in that case, Mr. Jack Jones' presidency was voided, and he had to have an election in 6 months. Once again, this is a similar issue.
Mrs. Jackson.
Mrs. Jackson.
Jackson's presidency.
Whichever. No, I think Jackson was there. But
Mrs. Jackson.
And so that presidency was voided. They had to have an election within 6 months. And here we are again, a similar issue, where we're speaking about the democratic rights of citizens. That was the essence of the matter.
How confident are you that the decision by the Chancellor and Justice Roy will be upheld in the CCJ?
Man, that's sort of a rhetorical question. If you know what I've been through to be around, yeah, I'll be very confident that it's. We wouldn't be here if we didn't think that it was something that was winnable. And it's, you know, look, The people of Guyana are deserving of the court hearing these matters deliberating on it and the thoughts of all of you involved in it. This is not a situation where Sean Alicop or some citizen or one single citizen decides. It's everybody's interest, how it is. One of the things that in the early days we were speaking of is, supposing the parliament had decided that you must be a former parliamentarian in order to be a presidential candidate. That would make those 65 people in parliament did have a 165 chance of being the next presidency. So tinkering with these criteria has issues that we all need to be involved in, and I'm glad that the press is involved and concerned, and I'm glad that Guyanese citizens have taken a look at it. And whatever is decided is good for me. It will be final, and we'll move on from there. We'll know exactly whether it's 2 terms or not.
It was in 2000, under the PPC administration, that the National Assembly, with a 2/3 majority, passed amendments to the Act for a 3rd term of the presidency of Guyana. It is now left for the CCJ to rule for or against, as papers are to be filed within 30 days. We'll keep you posted. Andrew Weeks, Channel 2, Headline News.
Thanks, Andrew. On Wednesday, citizens took to the streets again to voice their anger with the city's parking meter contract. Here's more of today's proceedings. Several hundred citizens braved the rainy weather in order to protest Georgetown's parking meter contract with Smart City Solutions. The crowd this time appeared to be at the largest thus far. The citizens repeated the same calls as before. They do not want amendments or fee reduction. They call for a complete scrapping of the deal. They believe it to be unfair to citizens and undemocratic. PPP parliamentarian Dr. Vindi Prasad, like many others, agree with this sentiment.
I think they will have to listen, because if they are looking at the numbers, they're growing. More and more people are joining this. They're actively involved in this, and the mayor and the city council need to listen. Because if they don't do it, then where is the democracy that we talk about? And that is a very serious thing. When you live in a democratic society, people need to be allowed to have their voices heard, and these are the citizens of the country.
Dr. Prasad, like many other protesters, is calling for central government to step in and intervene.
But I think government should be involved. They have been involved just because he has signed off on that. If it is, he is to be believed. And I again feel that people feel strongly about this, and government should listen. That is true democracy.
This is the 4th protest in the past 4 weeks organized by Movement Against Parking Meters. Just as in times before, many civil society groups came out to speak against the meters. Groups such as this one, led by this shop owner on Water Street. They came to protest dressed in black to, quote, mourn the death of the spirit of Georgetown.
But this is not good for our country. Come on.
Business.
It crippled the economy, it crippled business, and it's not good. And I say, and we all should stand up to this here, that parking meter, we're not ready for that, because our country is not well developed.
As stated various times by various protesters, the parking deal has been shrouded in secrecy from the beginning. This level of secrecy angers citizens who expected a level of transparency from this new city council. This secrecy brought some protesters to call for the removal of the mayor and the city council, this man included.
That should never be allowed. They should tear off the them. Borderline treason sell out this country for 9 years. Borderline treason.
How far are you willing to go with your protest?
I can there every single day until it's done. Every day.
And if the city council decides that they're not budging, they're not moving,
then we can keep starving them, or we can keep protesting. At least I'm speaking for me, right? I don't know about it.
This one protester gave a suggestion to City Hall on how the parking meters project should have actually been implemented.
It should be scrapped, and it should start all over again by making contact with the people and having a conference to make sure whatever they do, and even if they start it back, it should start back in phases, like a pilot project. They should just start it and get people accustomed to it without making it compulsory that you have to pay. Introduce a few meters in the city. Let people get accustomed to the idea of paying, and then gradually you work your way into it. But what is done here is definitely it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Unlike past protests, there were no counter-protests, but it should be noted that one of the directors of Smart City Solutions, Simon D. Mosheshvili, was at City Hall today. He was followed by media and demonstrators as he left the building. Mosheshvili declined to comment to the media. Georgetown Mayor Patricia Chase Green has postponed the holding of an extraordinary meeting planned to facilitate councilors' consideration of the revised rates for parking in the city. Andrew Weeks spoke to the mayor via telephone. The two discussed a number of issues, including attacks from the opposition leader and members of the movement against parking meters.
Mayor Patricia Chase Green made her position clear why she decided to postpone the extraordinary meeting with councillors on Wednesday.
I would have circulated the adjustments to the payment. I was just calling them to inform them what it is and all of that, but I gave them more time to study it.
As for paying for parking in the city, the mayor said that will continue. Clamping of wheels has also resumed with some modifications. Listen.
Give people 6 months break. There will be clamps, but you'll be given an opportunity to go and buy the ticket. Go and buy the time.
Go by the time, but they will not be clamped.
We can clamp you until you go and buy the time and then we release you. We won't wait here.
There you have it. Motorist parking in the city will be clamped until they pay for the overtime spent. As for the protest by Movement Against Parking Meter, the mayor said,
I think there are a few people coming out just to demand wherever they think is what they think is right. Now let's go to the city, but what they think is right, I ain't not gonna bend to them.
The mayor also slammed the Guyana Times for the recent article which stated that the mayor moves to have the city businesses closed by 16:30 hours. Chase Green said, that's alternative facts.
A vendor got up and asked me the question, why the stores will be open so late in the afternoon, whole day, whole night, all on Sundays and holidays. I said, I can't answer. I said, I would have recognized the same thing. But it doesn't come under my purview. It comes under the purview of the ministry. What I can do for you, since you have raised the concern with me, is ask the ministry to deal with it. I control opening and closing of markets, and I make sure to open and close on time. And it opens from 7:30 and closes at 4:30. That is the responsibility for stores, is the ministry.
Right.
The Guyana say, I Guyana closed markets. I Guyana closed stores. But it's just sensational. But if you really read into the article, they would have mentioned that I said that it doesn't come under my responsibility. But it's sensational to bring out people today.
Mayor Chase Green went on to state that it is a ploy by the Times to use the false information to gather protesters at City Hall today. The mayor also feels that the protest is politically motivated to embarrass the David Granger government. As for opposition leader Barry Jagdeo, who the mayor claims to be a new voice for market vendors in the city, Chase Green said,
according to the Calypsonian, for 23 years he never walked through the Stabrook Market gate yet. But now that we get in the opposition, he took over all the vending problems, but he never addressed them when he was in government. Right? He said, he minister said, let the council sink so we could get an epidemic. The garbage overflow. It's sorry they have an epidemic in Georgetown.
So Jagdeo, so you're saying Mr. Jagdeo is just playing politics with the lives of the citizens of Georgetown?
They have to keep the constituency lively by saying they're doing something for them after not doing it for them for 23 years. I have the faith in my government, and I know the people have faith in this government to move this country forward. Some decisions that will look horrendous and hard and and harsh, in the long run, will turn out to be decisions that were beneficial to this country.
Andrew Weeks, Channel 2, Headline News.
Thanks, Andrew. Coming up on Headline News after the break, UE Vice Chancellor discusses UG-UE relations, and Guyana is almost ready for first oil, according to British High Commissioner.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Today, schools around the country celebrated MASH in grand fashion. Here's more. The celebrations commemorating the 47th anniversary of Guyana gaining Republican status can be seen throughout the country. But the celebrations are not only for adults. Today, primary schools throughout the nation took to the streets in celebration of Mashramani. Students of the primary schools held programs to celebrate the 6 different peoples that make up Guyana. Afterwards, the children took their shows of culture to the roads of the surrounding neighborhoods. Dressed in bright colors and traditional ethnic garb, the children danced and reveled with parents and teachers. Guyana is on the right track in terms of preparation for first oil. This is a sentiment shared by many, including the UK High Commissioner to Guyana, Greg Quinn. During a recent media press conference, British High Commissioner Greg Quinn joined the bevy of experts, business people, and political figures who are optimistic for Guyana's first oil extraction.
So there's quite a lot of stuff going on. So I think actually, given where we are in time and given where we're looking at first oil coming out, that things are moving, fairly well forward.
Quinn recommends that the conversations today should revolve around how to properly allocate the money. Most importantly, he advises that Guyana does not neglect the importance of a sovereign wealth fund, as it could help float the nation's economy during a possible economic downturn.
Sorry, there's two aspects to this. One is what areas the money should be spent on for the benefit of everybody. So like a strategic plan in terms of, we want to develop this area, we want to do this infrastructure work, we want to help the education sector here. So I think that's part of it. But there's also the part of you don't spend all of the money now. You know, so you put some of it away in the sovereign wealth fund in case there is a rainy day, so that if anything happens, you can fall back on the money that is in the sovereign wealth fund.
Great Britain, an oil-producing nation for over a century, learned that lesson the hard way, a lesson that High Commissioner Quinn recommends that Guyana learns from.
We in the UK maybe spent a bit too much of our money at the start in the 1970s, and then whenever we had the economic downturn in the 1980s, you know, we didn't actually have that money to fall back on. Kazakhstan, which is where I was before, big oil-producing nation, has a very large sovereign wealth fund. So
despite the excitement for the oil money, Quinn recommends that the government engages in prudent spending habits, as 2020 is still years away.
What I think I'd like to see a bit more detail about is exactly what the strategy is for spending the money. And we've got time. I mean, come on, it's only 2017. First oil is not expected till 2020, so you know we've got time to work these things up.
High Commissioner Quinn stated that the British government, if asked, would professionally offer their consultants to the Ministry of Natural Resources. Has there been proper collaboration between the University of the West Indies and the University of Guyana? Vice-Chancellor of UE, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, has the answers in this Andrew Weeks report.
Even though the University of the West Indies and the University of Guyana are collaborating in areas of agriculture, fisheries, forestry, management, training, information technology, medicine and law, etc., Vice-Chancellor of UE, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, says a more structural relationship needs to be put in place.
Where a bridge is built between the two universities, where you can move credit from one to the other. You can mix your degree programs, you can do a part at UG, a part at UE. You could actually create a circumstance where the two institutions interface in such a way that there is full mobility of programs, of credits, of accreditation between the two.
When asked what is UWI doing to get the idea moving forward, Sir Hilary Beckles said,
well, at the moment we have an association of Caribbean universities, and these universities are becoming closer and closer. So what we would love to roll out is a circumstance where these universities all see themselves as a system, the Caribbean University System. And in that system, you can move from one institution to the next. You can interact, you can mix and match, you can pull programs from one, you can structure your degree by pulling programs from different institutions. The online technology now allows us to do that. So that is where our dream is going to be. But in the first instance, with UG, we're going to have some bilaterals, department to department, faculty to faculty, to allow that to happen in phases.
The UE Vice-Chancellor reflected on the contributions made by Guyanese scholars and professors at UE and vowed that he will do everything in his power to help UG succeed.
When I joined the history department of UWI 40 years ago, as a young boy straight from graduate school, who was my mentor in the history department at Mona? Elsa Gavaya, Guyanese. The Guyanese have made a tremendous intellectual contribution to UWI. I mean, one can list at least 24 distinguished Guyanese scholars and professors who helped to shape UWI to make it what it is. My own personal friend and mentor, I was mentored as a scholar by Walter Rodney. My son is named after him. He was my intellectual hero. So there is a long tradition. But what we have to do right now, UG is now in its rebuilding stage. I know that Vice-Chancellor Ivy Law Griffith has made a great start in rebuilding this institution here. I have given him my assurance that UWI will do all it can and must to help with the transformation of UG. This is only natural.
Andrew Weeks, Channel 2, Headline News.
Thanks, Andrew. Downtown vendors and other residents, irritated with constant flooding in front of their shops, took matters into their own hands. As citizens gathered around City Hall to protest the parking meters deal, another group congregated across the street to perform a noble civic action. Much of downtown Georgetown was under a few inches of water after torrential downpours early this morning. The rainwater overtopped drains and trenches along major roads throughout the Central Business District. The Streets of America and Avenue of the Republic was not excluded. The floodwater effectively stopped many customers from even shopping along this usually busy strip. Enter these local vendors.
We try to board this thing.
Yeah.
This the water went down the road. You see what's going on? I'm really no business going on here.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to open this thing since 8 o'clock.
Realizing that the flooding at this intersection was caused by a clog, the men leaped into action. Starting at around 8 a.m., the men worked for hours trying to clean the blockage. At around 12 p.m., the men were still at work, but the waters had slightly receded. We at Channel 2 Headline News commend the men for their hard work. And, still ahead, our regional and international news.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride taxi service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
In news from the region now, in Trinidad and Tobago, with TNT-style carnivals over all the Caribbean and Europe, there have been some concerns that their carnival is losing that which makes it special. C News reports.
From Marshall Monday to Carnival Monday, with Trinidadian-style carnivals over all the Caribbean and Europe, there have been concerns that our carnival is losing that which makes it special. It's been suggested that the bikini and beads mask isn't unique to Trinidad, and more attention should be paid to our traditional mask portrayals. Sweeney Gray reports that the NCC is trying to address that concern by carving out a space for traditional masks on Carnival Monday.
Carnival Monday has long been the day when masqueraders would come out in subdued versions of their costumes, saving the full portrayal for Carnival Tuesday. In recent years, they've switched from t-shirts and shorts to Monday wear, which is a sort of fancy swimsuit for the road. The National Carnival Commission is entrusted with managing and safeguarding the festival, and they saw an opportunity to create a space for heritage mask portrayals on Carnival Monday. So, Commissioner Marcel.
How are you?
I'm fine. So, I understand on Carnival Monday we're having an Old Mass presentation?
Not Old Mass. Old Mass is what you see downtown on Juve morning, where people put on the rags and portray different things with placards and so on and making statements. That's Old Mass. What we're going to have is a portrayal of traditional Mass.
Traditional Mass characters include the various sailor Mass portrayals, Mukujambis, Gorilla Mass, and many others. The NCC Commissioner says that our traditional or heritage Mass portrayals are what distinguishes Trinidad and Tobago Carnival from the various Trinidad-style carnivals that have spread to several countries around the world. The players will be sought from all over the country, from the many regional carnivals.
They have responded very well because they have been yearning for an opportunity to show their wares. They always get sidelined many times by the conventional Mass, the music trucks and so on. But that is what our carnival used to be, and it's rooted in our history. So they have responded very well. They're very anxious. Of course, it's a new product, so there are anxieties, but we're trying to work those things out.
So you're all very cognizant of that this is the first time you're trying something like this, so you're going to kind of look at it and see what you need to improve on. And
always, because we feel that we want it to be a staple and a distinctive product that we're offering to the world as Carnival Monday.
The traditional music of Carnival will also be given a space on the stage on Carnival Monday.
Well, we are going to have some band sides. We're trying to get about 5 of them. We're going to have Tambo Bamboo. We're going to have rhythm section.
Chantwells?
Of course, they must have chantwells. What we're trying to do is to just recreate that whole ambience that goes with traditional Mass.
The traditional Mass bands will be invited to cross the Savannah stage from 9 on Carnival Monday morning to 1 in the afternoon, clearing the way for the return of the conventional bands on the Savannah stage. Commissioner Marcel says they're hoping to create a great show for the audience, who they hope will fill the stands on Monday. Entrance to the grandstand is $50. Entry to the North Stand is free but reserved for hotel guests, schools, retirement homes, and other groups who can call the NCC to request tickets. The Commission says it's liaising with the various hotels to encourage their guests to view the traditional Mass parade on Carnival Monday. Soini Gray, C News.
And internationally, Milo Yiannopoulos said his decision to leave Breitbart was his and his alone. He then went on to say he wants to be a, quote, free speech warrior, end quote, and will form his own media company. Here is more from Newsy News.
Milo Yiannopoulos has resigned from his position at Breitbart News after statements he made about pedophilia and sex with minors circulated through the media.
If I knew someone around my age that was like, I just had sex with a 13-year-old, I would be creeped out, honestly.
Yeah, what is your age? What is your age?
I'm almost 35.
Okay, well, I'm talking about 28-year-olds. But we're talking about 13, 25, 13, 28. These things do happen perfectly consensually.
That's a short clip from the Drunken Peasants podcast posted in January 2016. In that same interview, he also discussed comments he'd made earlier on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast regarding his childhood abuse by a Catholic priest. Those clips were recently circulated by the Reagan Battalion, a conservative blog, with the intent of blocking Yiannopoulos from speaking at the Conservative Political Action Conference. It was successful. CPAC withdrew its speaking invitation to Yiannopoulos. Hours later, publishers canceled his book. In a now unlisted YouTube video, Yiannopoulos apologizes for his language and for not being clear on his views.
I phrased things poorly, and I enabled my detractors and critics to assemble material that looked very damning, but which does not reflect my opinions. So for that, I'm sorry.
Both in the video and in a Facebook post, Yiannopoulos claims his reporting uncovered 3 pedophiles. In the press conference announcing his resignation, he also said he would start his own independent media venture and look for other publishers for his book.
And that's Channel 2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 Headline News on Facebook, YouTube, and SaveTVGuyana.com. You can also tune in at 6:30 tomorrow morning for a rebroadcast, and Thursday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, and do have a wonderful MASH day.